John Keats was born in October 1795, and he was a second generation Romantic poet and an English poet along with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. So his poems were published for less than 4 years when he died of tuberculosis at the age of 25. And like most other poets, his fame grew after his death. He strongly influenced many writers of the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, and his style is heavily loaded with sensualities, uh, mostly in the series of odes. He accentuated extreme emotion with natural imagery, and his work is most analyzed in English literature now, especially Ode to a Nightingale. So, this poem, Ode to a Nightingale, is a desire to escape the pain, aging, and mortality of human life through the immortal beauty of art and nature. So, the speaker, that is the poet, he wants to join the nightingale's timeless, ecstatic song. But then he realizes that imagination is temporary and reality must return. So, some of the key themes that he deals with in his poem is the mortality versus immortality. The bird, it symbolizes eternal beauty. It contrasts with the human world, which is filled with suffering, sickness, and death. And the speaker, that is a poet, he wants to leave his reality through alcohol and, through the viewless wings of poesy, which means imagination, so to speak. And he talks about the Nightingale song as something that is unchanging and it's a universal force that has occurred throughout history. And it is unaffected by the short human life. And the poet tends to question reality and he wants to know whether his experience was a vision or a dream. And he just talks about the temporary nature of artistic inspiration. So, one of the poignant aspects of this poem is he talks about the transient state between reality and artistic transcendence. So, this is Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. My heart aches and a drowsy numbness pains my sense as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. 1 minute passed and the leithwards had sunk. 'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou, light-winged dryad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beechen green and shadows numberless, singest of summer in full-throated ease. Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled in a long age in the deep-delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and Provencal song and sunburnt mirth. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true and blushful Hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim. Fade far away, dissolve, and quite forget what thou amongst the leaf hadst never known, the weariness, the fever, and the fret. Here where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad, last grey hairs, where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies, where but to think is to be full of sorrow and leaden eyes despairs, where beauty cannot keep their lustrous eyes or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, but on the viewless wings of poesy, through dull brain perplexes and retards. Already with thee the tender is the night, and haply the queen moon is on her throne, clustered round by all her starry fays. But here there is no light, save from what heaven is with the breezes brown, through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in embalmed darkness guess each sweet, wherewith the seasonable month endows the grass, the thicket, the fruit-eyed wild hawthorn, and the pastoral eglantine. Fast fading violets covered up in trees, and mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose full of dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer eves. Dunkling, I listen, and for many a time I have been in love with easeful death. Call him soft names in many muse rhyme to take into the air my quiet breath. Now more than ever it seems it rich to die, to seize upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Thou wouldst not sing, I have years in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Thou wast not born for death's immortal bird, no hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I heard this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and crown. Perhaps the selfsame song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth, where sick for home she stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that ofttimes hath charmed magic casements opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairylands forlorn. Forlorn, the very word is like a bell to toll me back from thee to my soul's self. Adieu, the fancy cannot cheat so well as she is famed to do, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu, thy plaintive anthem fades past the near meadows, over the still stream, up the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley glades. Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music, did I wake or sleep?